Well, there was a program I was involved with where they were using a special type of Teslatron unit where we would take a watch in with us in this small hexagon room and spend, you know, supposedly 55 minutes in there. It actually detoxes you and teletransports toxins out of your body. Sometimes people lose up to 15 pounds in these trips that they go in there.
In one sitting?
In one sitting, in 55 minutes. And I always asked, you know, well, where does that go? Because I still have the same hydration when they did the blood test, and I'm not dehydrated, but yet all the horrible negative ionic bacteria, viruses, and metals in my body were taken out. So people that are really toxic that go in there, you know, really a lot of the stuff
come back healthy.
Right, they come back very healthy. It's used to treat cancers for the elites of the world. Even our presidents.
What's the machine look like, Emery?
It's a hexagon room, and inside the hexagon room is a glass wall. The hexagon room is only about 8 feet in diameter, so you know. So it can only fit a small massage table that's in there. And 3 feet beyond the massage table is a 3-inch glass or plexiglass wall, and behind that is this giant Teslatron unit. And it amps up this amazing electromagnetic frequency where it rips time and space apart.
Replicators, there would be no starvation. You can use a replicator and replicate some silver or gold, or replicate yourself a $100 bill if it makes you feel comfortable, and put it in your pocket. There would be absolutely no need for any type of financial give or take.
I would think that the typical old school politician mentality would be that if you gave everybody on Earth this kind of stuff, that they would all just want to drink beer and nobody would want to do anything, and they'd just be hanging around, and it would kill them. It would ruin their lives.
Well, there's going to be a transitional period where people are going to go, you know, probably a little bit nuts for a while with the technology.
I mean, when people win the lottery, right?
Right.
It's not good for them.
Well, right. Well, if everybody wins the lottery at once, you know, everybody has a replicator. Everybody's going to be pushing the button every day, you know, and trying, you know, all these different meals.
Computer, 1 slice of New York cheesecake. This is an old Earth delicacy.
How do I know you're not trying to poison me?
Please.
Basically, the design is a conventional generator.
So, tapped into zero-point energy.
The only person that I know of who has ever succeeded in making a serial effect generator is John Searle. The electron flow is accelerated to an extremely high rate, and it creates a vacuum around the device, and in that vacuum you develop numbing cold. And numbing cold, as we know today, is a function of superconductivity. It also is a function of gravitational force.
For over 60 years, John Searle has tried to give to the world a new kind of energy system, one that would free mankind from the burdens of oil and fossil fuels. John Searle is known all over the world as the inventor of the Searle effect generator, a magnetic device consisting of 1 or more rings, also called plates, and a number of cylindrical rollers that, when in motion, generate electricity.
The generator is a magnetic device that is totally magnetic. It is its own prime mover. It will self-start and continue to run, and as far as we know, we could say never stop.
The looking glass shows probabilities, or has shown probabilities. The cube would react with the people present. So there was an alteration, if you will, over what you were seeing from it. It would actually spin out as a yellow disc out of the top of it, where the word yellow book originally came from. Yeah. Actually, I used that to our advantage at the T9, because that, in fact, was present at the T9, and I projected certain information which caused a little upset during the meeting, but I was also allowed to show them probable outcomes. So, in fact, the yellow book, the cube, was used for that purpose. Shockingly, they happened to see themselves standing on the bones of their own families and things like that in the vision. They were handing this cube around from country to country to the elitists in the countries to look into their own futures so that they could pick the best paths for themselves. I'm happy to pass along the information. I'm honored to pass along the information that I understand that the Yellow Book is no longer accessible. I will say this to everybody, whomever took it, it's in safe hands and it won't be used to harm humanity.
Are we able to know how many man-made Stargates there were on the planet?
No. I'm not going to comment as to the total. I will say that there was over 50.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. In different countries of the world?
Yes.
Okay, and these are man-made?
Yes.
Okay, so, and natural Stargates?
Well, see, it's not a Stargate. It's a device which accesses.
Okay.
Which accesses a portal, a wormhole,
Does it
or
access a natural, in other words, the man-made device accesses a natural Stargate?
It draws off from a natural ERB, an Einstein-Rosen bridge.
Okay.
It accesses it and somehow works, from what I understand, not in parallel, but almost like piggybacks on the energy of the natural Stargate. Yeah.
Okay. So, in other words, if there were 50 man-made devices accessing, they would be accessing a corresponding 50 natural energy vortexes.
That I don't know. There's a possibility, in fact, that when the looking glass was operated, they were usually worked in tandem. It required a second looking glass to be turned on at the same time to get acoustics through. So unless a second one was turned on, which was operated at one of the places where Will Uhouse had been, he saw the second node location as opposed to the first node being over at the Papoose facility. Two pieces of equipment, two looking glasses, were required to be turned on at the same time to be able to hear acoustics or sound, if you will, from whatever the people were watching, but to go to piggyback in tandem with the visual response of the equipment. That it required two to be turned on to hear anything. And then both sides could hear the same thing. So I suppose both of the looking glasses being tuned to the same thing was accessing the same tunnel, if you will, to the information.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Okay, so the looking glass has an ability to show one the future, but a Stargate or or equipment that accesses a Stargate or wormhole is for time travel, right? We're talking about two different things.
Yes.
Are they using the same technology?
Essentially, yes. The original device was the Stargate device. That was then increased in power, if you will, with the use of these field posts. And how it pumped up the power, how it stabilized it, I don't know. You'd need to speak with a physicist about that.
Okay, and
however,
it increased it enough to where it became a looking glass?
Well,
had
no.
The abilities of a looking glass?
No. It would be pumped up in power to stabilize the doorway, if you will, to step through into another location, which, in essence, because distance and time are relative, the same thing. Step through into another time. The looking glass device was a back-engineered Stargate.
Okay.
So it was actually back-engineered from the original cylinder seal data, which allowed us to produce the Stargate access devices, if you will, what we call the Stargates. It's a back-engineered device, the looking glass is. So the looking glass is a secondary device, and it was coming into its fore in the 60s and 70s. And Will saw one of the first generations of it. From what I understand, very large piece of equipment. They always get smaller no matter what. I mean, look at what's happened with the computers.
Wasn't the original looking glass a back-engineered from alien technology?
Yes.
Okay. But it also, there was information around the cylinder seals that they used as also, and that those cylinder seals also came from an off-world race. Is that
well, no, the cylinder seals didn't. The information on them did.